are live.
Yay!
So, I don't have to do the countdown, but I like the countdown because it just makes it easier to know when to jump in.
That's smart.
So,
I like that.
Yeah. So, all right. So, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our discussion of Enhanced tonight by Candace, Kade. This is a YA sci-fi Christian fiction book. That is a mouthful. That we read this last month. And I guess I could pull my banners up because I'm slacking tonight. So my co-host for tonight is Kelley from Bookish Kelley. So if you want to tell everyone who you are, where they can find you, and some of the types of books you read.
Okay, so I'm Kelley. You can find me over at Bookish Kelley on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, and I do have an account on Fable where I actually also have a book club on there for nonfiction Christian books. So you can find me on there. And I like to read clean reads, Christian fiction, Christian nonfiction. I like to read classics. I have been really trying to read more of the classics the past several years because I want to know why are they classics. And so I've really been enjoying that. But I usually have read like historical fiction or like fantasy the past couple of years. I haven't read a whole lot of science fiction. So I was actually really excited about reading this book because of the fact that it's science fiction, and I haven't read much of that.
Yep. I haven't read near as much in the more recent years than I would like. So yeah, this was a nice change of pace. And this one has a very strong sci-fi feel to it. So even more so than I was expecting. So
there were several times where I was like, what did I just read?
Right. Although I did have a point where apparently I thought it was a lot further in the future than it actually is, because I was like, would we really still have some of these types of things that they're talking about? And then I realized it's like 110 years in the future. I went, never mind. That's realistic.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff I wouldn't so much call that realistic.
Well, no.
Sci-fi stuff, but I mean, yes, what you just said.
But talking about like cryptocurrencies and some of those kinds of things, yes. I'm like, is that still going to be around? Oh, wait, this isn't like 500 years in the future. This is only 100. So it's a little bit more realistic.
Yep.
So, all right. So one of the first things I usually start off with, and I didn't ask you beforehand, I'm sorry, okay. But usually do a summary of the book for anyone who may be unfamiliar with it. So do you want to give the summary or do you want me to give it?
You can do it.
It's about a 50-50 as to whether or not I give the summary or not. So there is the book, which has a gorgeous cover. If I can keep the glare off of it. Because it's a very shiny cover. So this is a story set in 2134, if I'm remembering the year correctly. So like I said, about 110 years in the future. It's set, I'm assuming, in China because it's New Beijing and it's the Asian Federation. Mm-hmm. But we are following our main character, Urban, who is a natural in a world where people have been able to enhance their children's genetics prior to them being conceived, or at least prior to them being born. I don't know exactly where in that process they get their enhancements. But they can choose what kind of genetics their kids are going to have. They can get them enhanced. And so because the enhanced people have more abilities than a natural person, they very much look down on the naturals. And Urban is a natural living with an enhanced family. And they have been hiding the fact that she is a natural for years. But now she's going off to university and has to hide this from them as well, because bad things have happened to naturals who go to university. Her hope is really to be an artisan, but her parents are worried that she would get too much notice, or it might be more easily noticed that she's a natural if she goes that route. Mm-hmm. So they want her to go a different route. And so this is her trying to figure out what route is she wanting to take in life, trying to keep her true identity a secret, and all of that.
Yep.
So there's your succinct summary as I can get.
Yes. So. It was a very good summary. I'm very proud of you.
I'm not always good at summaries on the fly, but
no, that one was wonderful.
Okay. So to start out, we're going to start with our general non-spoilery thoughts on the book. So if there's anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled on the book, they can leave before we get into the spoilery stuff.
Okay, I like that you do that.
On this one.
So I will say, like, non-spoilery. So one, like we said, very, very sci-fi. Like, and it was very heavily, like you said, it takes place in China. And so a lot of you can tell it's very heavily Chinese influenced, which made it also like a very interesting read and reminded me a lot of like the sci-fi books that my husband listens to. And so like if that's your thing, definitely check out this book because it's very heavily influenced by that. And the food that they talked about sounded so good. I know that one's completely random, but
but it is Asian food, so
yes, and like just going into, and it wasn't always like the sweets or the desserts. Like they talked about some really like yummy sounding food. So I did appreciate that. I was a little surprised, like it's a Christian fiction, but there was no faith content. And I don't know if that comes in later, like maybe with how it did for, what's it called? Color Theory by Ashley Bustamante. Like that came in like at the very end of one of the books. I don't know if she plans to have that come in later, but I went into it thinking that it was eventually going to come up and it never did.
Yeah.
Because it's Christian fiction, you know?
Right.
So I wasn't sure if I was the only one who was a little surprised by that. Like, did you?
Yep, I caught the same thing. Actually. Okay. We're going to talk about that later, so a little more in depth. So perfect. Yeah, that was one of the things that I thought of after I finished the book. I was like, wait a second. Yeah. Like, I swear this is marketed as Christian fiction, and yeah.
I was a little surprised by that. I'm trying to think what else. I can't think of anything specific as that wouldn't be non-spoilery. But then I'm always like really concerned about giving any kind of hint through something like that, because I'm always like, I tend to figure things out off of like the slightest little hint that somebody says. And so I'm always like, I don't want to say something. So I'll let you continue with the non-spoilery thoughts and feed off of you.
Okay. So one of the things that I noticed about this book right away, which I'm sure you noticed too, is the fact that it literally drops you in the middle of this society. Like it starts off immediately in the first chapter, it's dropping words that we do not know and talking about things in the society that we are not familiar with. And so it was very much just strap in and hang on for the ride and you'll figure it out as you go. Yeah. Which, yeah, it definitely dropped me in a lot faster than I was expecting. Like I almost kind of want to go back and read the first couple of chapters now, knowing what all these things are.
That would actually be a really good idea.
It probably would be. Because it might make a lot more sense all of a sudden.
Yeah, and like that probably is one of the things that made it feel so like, holy cow, this is very sci-fi, because like we just had to figure it out as we went along instead of being given the lore all at once.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that, yep.
Yeah. But there's definitely a lot of different advanced technologies explored in this book. Some that could seem realistic, some that might not be, but you know, it's the world that she created. So yeah, the world looks very different from the way it does now in certain aspects. In some aspects, people are still people.
Yes.
So there is that. This is very much a book that focuses on the differences in classes.
It really does. That was something I noticed too.
Yeah. So it does have a lot of things going for it, but there is a lot going on.
Yeah. And the thing is like, and that, you can tell me if you feel like this would be spoilery, but like, I know that there's already something like this kind of already, but they had a score. What was it called?
Sosh.
Yeah, your
It was spelled SOSH in the book.
Yeah.
And I realized I'm like, oh, it really should be SOC because it's short for like social status.
Yes.
But yeah, but I'm pretty sure she did it that way because she's like, otherwise people are gonna see SOC and probably pronounce it sock, would be my guess. So I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. But that really did, like, your status in the world depended on like the scores that people gave you for your soc. And that was something that, like, and so everybody's always working to get theirs higher. And if it's lower, then that also might be indicative that you are a natural. And I thought that was interesting because of the fact that they're, a social score is a real thing right now, being practiced in Asia. So I thought that was interesting.
I actually did not know that. So that makes sense why it's in there.
Well, I've at least heard rumors about it.
Okay.
So, but I'm pretty sure it's like active right now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it could be. I guarantee there's stuff over there I'm not familiar with. So
yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I could definitely see how that would end up in her book because I did look up. Apparently, she was born in the U.S. The author was. She was born in the U.S. Then they moved to China when she was 4, and she basically grew up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that's a thing over there, she would know it.
Yeah.
And it would make sense why it ended up in the book.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that'd be kind of, that would be a hard thing to just kind of come up with on the fly for a book, like, for the future, because you don't really hear about those in well, like, I don't really read sci-fi, so it might be. But like I didn't think that would be something that someone would be like, oh well, this, but it in and of itself sounds very sci-fi, whether it's real or not. So I guess it makes sense.
Anything that has to do with some type of new way that society works or technological advance is very sci-fi.
Yes.
So, all right. You have any other thoughts before we move into spoilery territory?
No, I do not.
Okay. So if you haven't read the book and don't want to be spoiled, feel free to bow out at this point. We do thank you for joining us. If you have read the book or don't care about spoilers, feel free to continue. So I started asking this one a couple live streams ago, and I'm like, this isn't a bad question to ask, except for the fact I never think about my answer in advance, even though I know the question's coming. What were your favorite and least favorite parts of the book?
Okay, so my favorite part. My favorite part was when she had dinner with Everest's parents. I thought it was just very sweet. And she, got to experience that like loving family, like hominess. And I thought that I really liked that part. My least favorite was probably when I didn't like the fact that like she had to keep reminding herself that she had a boyfriend when she was around that one dude.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
True. I didn't think about that, but yeah. Was that Ash or was that Orion?
It was Orion. Ash was the one that...
Oh yeah, Ash was interested in her sister.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, the other guy. And I was just, especially because of the fact that I was like, the way he's described, I would not picture him as somebody that would be like an opposing love interest.
No.
So,
I mean, he seems like a nice guy, but...
Yes. In my brain, he was much older.
Yeah.
He probably wasn't, but like...
Maybe he seems like it because he's a jujitsu teacher?
Probably.
I don't know. I mean, clearly he's still a student, so he wouldn't be more than a few years older, I guess.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But
now that I think about it. But yeah, he does come across as older for some reason.
Nonetheless, she shouldn't have to remind herself she has a boyfriend.
No. I mean, I know they've only been dating a few months, but still. Yes. Like, you're aware that you're dating someone. This should not be hard to remember.
Yep.
Oh, I can definitely understand that.
How about you?
I think some of my favorite parts in the book were the ones that had to do with Coral. I just found Coral to be a very interesting character. Yeah. I loved, I don't know, just her I don't care attitude. I was like, I feel like she could be a really good friend for Urban.
Yeah.
I did not expect her to end up being Angel, but I did really like her as a potential friend for Urban.
Yeah. I knew that there was something sketchy going on with her, but I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah, I definitely didn't pick her as Angel, so.
Yep.
My least favorite part, the one thing coming to mind is when she got forced to be in the games. by the inventors.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that was rude.
Yeah, right? That was my thought exactly.
Of all things to dare her to do, I'm like, no, that was uncalled for.
Yeah, like that's just mean.
So, yeah.
And then she ends up breaking the whole system.
Right. Like they put it in training mode, but it still just threw everything at her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and they claim that they successfully hacked it. I'm like, so did you or didn't you? Because in training mode, it shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's also the fact that like, well, they said that it did that because she didn't have any enhancements. And that's why it just threw everything at her, because it's supposed to throw things at you that don't have to deal with your enhancements.
Yeah.
But then I was like, that's like, but she ended up surviving them all.
Yeah. Right.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I was confused a little bit by that too.
Yeah. There's definitely some things there where I'm just like, I'm not sure what just happened.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now we get into the meatier questions.
Okay.
All right. So what are your thoughts on the genetic enhancement technology? Should parents be allowed to choose genetics or alter their children before they're born?
I don't like it, and no. They were doing
simple answer. Moving on. No, I'm kidding.
But they were doing it like it wasn't before conceived, it was in utero. So like,
okay, that's what I couldn't remember, if it was like they were altering genetics like in the eggs and the sperms and then putting it together, or if it was like after fertilization but before birth.
Yeah,
like, that's what I was trying to remember. It's like, where was it at in that stage?
Yeah. And then I was like, I don't know, like the fact that like I could understand giving them like, I mean, I wouldn't do it. Like, but for the sake of like trying to be understanding of the situation, I can understand, you know, making them better at art or making them better at perceiving things or inventing things. But giving them animal parts,
right,
or like, that's just rude. Like, why would you do that to your child?
Right. You know, and I can also see like, you know, making their bodies healthier. They don't need the vaccines, you know.
Yes.
I get why people would do that. I do know to some extent that this does already exist today, because there are people who will go through and, you know, make sure that this embryo has blue eyes and it has this colored hair and all these different kinds of things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not on board with that.
No.
Like, it's just supposed to be random. Just let it be random.
Yeah.
But
the excitement of it.
Yeah, it does. So it's like, I kind of feel like that's probably where she got the idea from, is that they realized, oh, we can also enhance people on top of just picking their basic genetics. Yes. And so this is what it's become over 100 years later.
Yeah.
But no, I don't agree with it either. Because I'm like, you're like, you know, Ash was talking about, you know, who wants to be a flyer? Like, it gets boring after a while. And it's like, yeah, somebody could, you know, be a flyer, but then they're terrified of heights, so they're not going to fly. Like, point. You know, they're afraid of getting injured, and then suddenly they can't fly, so they just don't fly. Like,
yeah,
you know, or they could just be like, I just don't enjoy this. Like, I do it to get to and from places, but I don't enjoy it. I don't want to use it. Yeah. You know, whatever it might be. You know, whether it's flying or, you know, some other ability, but
camouflage, or like, what if you're scared of water and you have the underwater thing?
Yeah. Like, or you just don't like water.
Yeah.
But there's some people who don't care to be in water. I am not one of them. But there are people out there who don't care to be in water. So it's like,
you know, where I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, put me in the middle of the sea where I can't touch the bottom, and like, I am happy.
Yes.
But
I miss being close to the ocean. Yes.
Yes, I love the ocean. But I will say that was another thing that bothered me. The fact that her brother was such a jerk and like tried drowning her when she was little. Like, no, that's
what is it? Maybe I shouldn't talk about that, because I'll be coming up here in just a minute.
Okay.
So I was gonna say something like that leads more into a question coming up. I will hold off on that one, but yeah, I didn't like her brother at all. I guess if I was to say my least favorite part of the book, it'd be him. Yeah, I don't even remember his name at this point. I think it was Lucas, but I don't know. It started with an L. That's all I remember.
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, no, like he was just, no, I did not like, he was all around jerk.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
redeeming qualities.
No, not at all.
Except the fact that he kept her secret.
Right. That's the only thing you have going for you at this
Yes.
But he also knows it would look bad on their family if it was known that she was a natural. So that's probably why.
Yeah. Selfish.
So,
yeah.
Like,
Reason.
all right, I'll keep our family in good standing, but I don't have to be nice to you about it. Yeah. Okay. So in the book, there are a variety of other technological advancements explored. What did you think of some of them? And in your opinion, what are their pros and cons?
So it was the contacts, right?
Yep, the retina displays.
Yes.
I made a list and I didn't email it to myself. There's the retina displays, there's the XR suits, there's the air filtration and masks, there's the tattoos. I know there's some, the sleep helmets, headsets, whatever they called them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there were, like, I started thinking about it, I'm like, okay, there were a variety of technologies. I just forgot about most of them because the retina display is the one that stood out.
Yeah. So the suits were the ones that were wore inside the like games, right? And that prevented them from being like really hurt.
Yeah. Although I feel like there was also a version of the suit that she usually wore because it helped regulate body temperature.
Yes.
So
yeah. So I mean, I guess that's kind of cool. It'd be nice to have a suit that prevents me from being harmed. I do a lot of harm to myself all the time just by walking into door jams. But like, I don't know, like I know we have the Meta glasses now that like, you know, will show things on the screen and you can ask questions, whatever. That's one thing, but like to have contacts doing that, like, and I don't even like, what got me is I don't understand how they were able to just like make it show you certain things like without saying it out loud, or like, you know, with the glasses you touch and you're like, hey Meta, you know, like, and you ask the question out. How did they do it with the retina display?
Yeah, the only thing that I can guess,
I'm not touching my eye.
Right. The only thing I can guess is they're technically somehow designed that basically, like, if you look at it, either look at it long enough or something like that, then it's basically like, okay, you selected it.
Yeah.
But obviously it would have to be able to detect the minutest movement because of the fact it's so close to your eye.
Yeah.
So, but that's the only thing that I could think of, because it would say like, you know, she looked at this and then it, you know, and then that image went to this. And so like, it almost has to be like you looked at it long enough that it's like, okay, you selected it, you know, or something like that. But,
yeah. It was weird.
Like you looked at it and blinked. I don't know. Like, I have no idea.
Look at it and just be normal.
Right?
It'll pop up. No,
but it's also one of those that I'm just like, how awkward would it be to be having conversations and someone's like, you know, literally just looking all over the place because they're looking at this retina display. They're not even looking you in the eye.
Right? Well, yes. Like, my concern was that like when it's in there, it's like somehow connected with your thought processes.
That could be too.
That.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, no.
And the fact that she was so freaked out that at the one point where they're like, you know, you have to take your contacts out.
Yeah.
She's like, how am I supposed to drive without my contacts?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have something showing me where to go. I don't have all of these things. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how did normal people function before retina displays?
It reminded me of that scene from WALL-E where like they're all on the ship and then like those two people bump into each other and it turns off their like little like glasses things that they're always watching. And then they're like, oh, the world around me.
Right. I didn't know we had a pool. Yeah.
It reminded me of that.
Yes, very much so. It also made me think of just like, you know, people who like can't navigate today already without a GPS. Because they're just so used to like, okay, punch it in, it tells me where to go, and they don't even pay attention. They're just following the GPS. I'm like, no. I want to eventually know how to get back there again.
Yes, exactly. Like if my phone isn't like, if it goes dead or something, like I want to be able to find my way around my little town. Yeah. At least. But I've actually been teaching my daughter how to read a physical map and a physical atlas.
Yeah.
I'm like, you will not be hindered by a GPS. I refuse to let this happen.
Right. Yeah, my kids, for their history and geography this year, their geography is teaching them map skills. So they have to learn their directions and they have to learn how to read a map. And yeah, and then we're going to be making a trip sometime this fall, and they will have maps and they will be able to follow as we go. Like, no, you're going to know how to do this.
Yes, I love that idea. That's awesome.
Because I lived in California growing up, and we made a trip one time from California to Ohio and back in the car. So, 3 days out, 3 days back. And yeah, we had these big old fat books that I don't remember who my parents said they got them from, if it was like AAA or who it was. But they had full-size maps in them. So like, we could follow along and be like, okay, we're in New Mexico. Where are we at now? My dad would be like, we just went through this town. So like, okay, we were here. Okay, now we're here. And so we could follow as we went.
Yep.
And so I'm like, hoping to do something like that with the kids to help keep them entertained, but also it's teaching them how to read a map. So
yes, exactly. My husband and I, when we were dating, for a Christmas present one year, I wasn't able to go home and visit my family for Christmas. And so he was like, I will drive you home. We were in Missouri and my family lived in Washington State. And so like we sure did. We bought an atlas and we just followed that all the way. And I told the kids, I was like, we didn't think anything of it. We weren't like, oh, this stinks. Like we were just like, map. We know how to use this. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. And when we were in college, because that's where my husband and I met, a group of us was taking a trip from Missouri down to Florida. And so we had 2 vehicles going. In one of the vehicles, they had a GPS. My parents had contacted AAA for me because it wasn't my insurance. But they had contacted them and gotten what they call a triptych. And so it has the map and it gives you like, okay, you're going to take, this interstate to this exit and then this state, this interstate and so on. So it outlines the trip for you, but it also gives you a map to go with it.
Yeah.
And so I was following the triptych, and at one point we were in St. Louis. We were getting ready to get on 270. His GPS said to go south because we're going to Florida. My triptych said to go north, which I basically figured out later. I'm like, it was basically a 50-50 split because you had to go all the way around to catch the next interstate. So it really didn't matter.
Yeah.
But we were getting on north and they were following us. And we got a phone call like just after we got on 270 going, are we going the right way? Because the GPS is yelling at us to turn around.
Oh, no.
I'm like, we're fine. I'm like, 270 is a loop.
Yes.
Like if we went the wrong direction, it will eventually get us where we're going. We are fine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they were kind of freaking out on us because their GPS was upset.
Like, GPS back in the day, oh my goodness.
GPS was not good.
And they would be mean if you got on the wrong road.
Yes. It was like, you were going the wrong way. Turn around is what it kept telling them. And I'm like, that's illegal.
Right?
Well, on the interstate, you can't do that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Early 2000s GPSs were awesome.
They were a hot mess.
They're so much better today, but it's still like, I still don't know how to read a map. So yeah, that was what I thought of with her retina display was she can't do anything without, she doesn't know how to function without it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I think that's like probably the biggest con, like, is that like getting so used to all of those technological, that's a word that my throat does not want to make, technological advances that like they become so dependent on it that they don't know how like to live without it. And I think that could be a real problem in the future.
Yeah.
And
it's become more and more dependent.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to think through. I did find the air filtration system idea interesting, but I also found it very frustrating that it's like, yeah, it only works up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then, no, you guys are just on your own. You wear masks or you just breathe in the bad air.
Yeah. I was
like, no, you have this technology. Just let people actually use it.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that when I read that, I was like, that's just honestly kind of mean and hateful to everyone else.
Right.
Like, you
Especially
can die.
When there's a purple zone where it's like, if you're in this zone, you're going to die. It's like, can you not at least clean that up to where it's a red or yellow zone?
Yeah. 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 No kidding.
That's so difficult.
Do something.
Yeah. There shouldn't, with your technology, there should be no purple zones.
Right? And I feel like it just kind of went right along with what we were talking about before with like the system, like the levels at where people are at.
Oh yeah.
That it like the lower it got, they were just like, we literally don't care about you.
Yeah.
Like if you want healthier air, get a higher soch and
right.
come live in the city.
Right. Which it just dawned on me. I'm like, is the purple zone because of like radiation? Like, was there a nuclear war?
Oh.
Like, I didn't think about that till just now. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait a second. Maybe it's not so easy to clean up.
Maybe. I didn't think about that.
If that's the case, I might be a little more forgiving.
Well, then it just also made me think, like, are these people actually really like being enhanced in womb, or
are they just deformed from radiation?
For why people are coming out with tails and wings?
Oh, somehow it wouldn't surprise me. Oh, I hope not, but oh.
Yeah, that'd be sad.
It would be. But that's a really good question. So,
yeah. Gosh. I told you my cheeks were going to hurt from laughing.
I know, right? It's good for you. Laughter is the best medicine. At least that's what I tell myself.
Yep.
So, all right. Any other technologies we want to talk about?
None that I can think. Like the other ones didn't really stand out to me as much, honestly. Yeah. Like,
the other one that was on my list was the robots.
Oh yeah.
Professor robots. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Human professors are sometimes bad enough. I don't need a robot.
Yeah. Although I did think it was funny that they were like, if the robot gets an answer wrong, then Candace is canceled.
Right.
Class is canceled. My goodness.
It's getting late.
But I thought that was funny, and how he tricked it into giving the wrong answer. And I was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Ornery. Very ornery, but funny.
Because I guarantee that robot was sitting up there going, how could that be incorrect? And then realized, oh, there's two meanings to the word for. Okay, it probably was incorrect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah.
But yeah, the only thing with him saying, like, nobody has made me glitch yet, it's like I was really expecting it to be like it shorted out. I wasn't expecting it to just go, oh, yes, you're right. That was wrong. Class is dismissed.
Right.
Like, that is not the glitch I expected.
Nope.
I find that was kind of anticlimactic.
Right? No kidding.
So,
but it got the job done. So
it did. He got class canceled like he wanted. Yeah. I like Dash, but yes, he was very sneaky.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the one where I was like, we're gonna wait a second. What did you think about the relationships explored in this book, especially those that appeared one way on the surface but turned out to be different by the end of the book?
Okay. All right. So I honestly so the first one that comes to mind is Everest. Mm-hmm. Because that's her boyfriend and they've been dating for a couple of months. But then by the end of the book, I wasn't like, was it indicating that he was only her boyfriend because he was keeping an eye on her? Or like, because he's part of the people that are trying, but like, so I was a little confused about that.
Yeah. I was mostly confused about like, why did he break up with her? Because I didn't get the feeling that he was dating her just because he was part of AIE. Or however you would say that. But sorry, you froze for a second. It got me off guard.
No, so did you.
Okay, so maybe it's my internet. But I didn't understand why he broke up with her just because of that. My internet being wonky again.
Something else going on there?
I don't know.
There was a different reason why he was breaking up with her. But that means I'm glitching on yours.
Yep. Apparently I'm having to catch up with you. I'm trying to speed it up. I'm not sure whose end it's on. That's the bad part. I don't know. But
I don't know either. I don't know if it's mine. If it is, I'm really sorry, but it says I have full bars.
Yeah, it says that on mine too, so I'm not sure. I think we're probably just going to be a little delayed from each other at this point.
Okay, that's
awkward.
I mean, we'll make it work.
Right.
But yeah, I couldn't figure out why he was breaking up with her. Like, that made no sense to me.
Mm-mm.
And then to find out that he was a part of that group, and it made me wonder if because what's her chick knew that she had no powers, but still needed to protect her for some reason, if maybe he was also aware of that because he's part of the same group. But then I feel like they didn't know that they were, because they didn't share who all was a part of the group.
Yeah.
I was very confused.
Yeah, I don't think that he knew she was part of it, but I know he knew she was a natural. That part was covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also it was like with his parents. I was like, is it that he brought her in and they're just like trying to play off like, oh yeah, we're against enhanced to like throw off suspicion?
Yeah.
But I'm still like, but even if that's the case, then why didn't they just wait until she said something and then just like build off of that instead of just automatically jumping to that?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was, they were just, I mean, here's the thing though, like, I feel like I very well could have missed things because of the fact that, like I said, it was just like so much information and so sci-fi, and like half the time I was like, I feel like my brain isn't catching up. But that may also be because I was listening to it audio. So
yeah, I don't know. I did both and I was still like, I feel like it was like exaggerated, even though they were on the same side as her.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they had to have known something was going on with her because I forgot his name again. The guy that was the instructor.
Orion.
That she kept. Yes, Orion. Like, he was her bodyguard.
No, Trig was her bodyguard.
We find out. That's right. Yes.
Yeah. It was someone that Lillian knew from AIE.
Yes. So that's right. So he was the bodyguard. So obviously, but he was that before. Like, she had assigned him as that before she asked for a bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was very, they obviously knew something was going on with her.
Yeah.
So
and I know at least in part it was because, there had been stories that, someone was found out to be a natural at university and they were, beaten up and this kind of stuff. And so it was like to protect her in case anyone found out.
Yes.
But
yeah, but I don't know, the way that it came out made me feel like there was something more to it.
Right.
Which there very well may not be, but the fact that Angel was calling her out and being like, don't come to the college, and, go away. So there was obviously something there, but
I don't know. And then with her parents and stuff, I'm like, okay, they're basically on her side. They want to be able to provide these enhancements for her potentially in the future. But yeah, the extent to that they're willing to go where it's just like, you have to keep up your social, you have to do these things, you have to blend in.
Yeah.
I don't know. There were a lot of things in relationships, like I said, especially the ones that turned out different at the end of the book, where I'm just like, what I saw earlier in the book, when I find out the truth, it doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. And especially, with her parents, you're just like, that it was just this huge, bit of lore just dropped in your lap. And you're like, but that doesn't make sense for what we heard earlier. The way that they treated her, they could have accomplished what they wanted to keep her safe without treating her the way that they did.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Right. And this was more of what I wanted to get into with whatever her brother's name is. So apparently I'm terrible with names.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was such a jerk to her, and her parents supposedly cared about her, and yet they didn't, from a young age, like correct him and no, you shouldn't treat people that way, especially your sister. Like, how does he end up still with this attitude as an adult if his parents had raised him right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the part that I
mean,
was confused
they
about.
could, yeah, like they essentially raised him to be someone that, like, his attitude very much falls in line with the people that attack the naturals,
Right.
but they're so much against that. Like, yeah, no, they set the example for him to some sort of degree, and like you said, didn't correct him. So that was, yeah, didn't make sense either.
Yeah. I mean, I could see to some extent if he was kind of resentful, like, there was so much pressure put on to make sure we keep this hidden.
Yeah.
And, if we had just outed her as a natural and gotten rid of her, we wouldn't have this problem. I could see some sort of resentment, but the fact that he is just that much of a jerk.
Yeah. And they could have kept their secret with, like, but still raise him to treat her better.
Yeah.
Like, we can't really say, well, they were trying to keep their secret, so they didn't correct him. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
So, yeah, I agree. I didn't, that was off too.
Yeah. So now the other people she had relationships with, I didn't have so much of an issue with. Like, Ash, I didn't have an issue. Lily and I didn't have an issue. Even her other roommates who were enhanced, I didn't have issues with. I'm like, it's literally the people where it was set up as like, this is how they appear, but this is what's really going on. And I'm like, but they don't add up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, maybe the second book kind of dives into that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, it did not equate. And I'd love to know if there was a reason that she portrayed it that way.
Yeah.
But
like I get her maybe wanting to throw off the reader a little bit, but it's like, but even still, there's usually a point where, like, when the reveal comes that, oh no, it's actually the opposite of what you thought, you're like, okay, but I can see how it makes sense.
Yeah. And there was a moment, I feel like, where Urban was like, oh, so my mom really did care. And like, it almost said, like, she almost kind of indicated that she could see it now, that her mom cared. But I was like,
I don't.
Like, can you?
Can you? Because I do.
I mean, if you really look for it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Any of the other people you want to talk about?
I don't think so. Most of the other relationships, like you said, I was fine with them.
Yeah. I mean, other than the people who are jerks just to be jerks, but they were jerks to everybody.
They're rude.
So, yeah. All right. What do you think about the genetic technology that would allow parents to enhance their children after they're born, is what that's supposed to say? And what kind of effect do you think that would have on society?
I probably hate that even more than the in utero, like, enhancements, because that just tells the child you're not good enough as you are.
Yeah.
And like, no, that's horrible.
That's going to take plastic surgery and that kind of stuff to a whole new level.
Yes, exactly. And that would just encourage a very, like, a very depressed society, because everyone's going to be saying, but I can be better. I can be better. I'm still not good enough. I'm still not good enough. And like, that would, so the parents doing that to their kids, no, like, that's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Because from what I was, this is the part that I listened to on audio, so I might not have all the details right, but it sounded like they were basically saying up until you're about, I know they said about 25, but they were talking about, like, guys stop growing around 25, girls stop growing around 18. So I don't know if it would be 18 for girls and 25 for guys, or if it'd be 25 all the way around. But it was basically like, once you're done growing, you couldn't add the enhancements.
Yeah.
So I'm like, which mostly seems to say that this would mostly be done to minors.
Yes. Yes. But she did have a memory of her mom wearing the thing.
Yeah.
that is supposed to give the enhancement. And obviously her mom would be older than 18.
Yeah.
So
well, she has a memory of the patch itself.
Yes.
I don't think it was anyone wearing it. I think it was like laying on a table.
Oh, I thought she said that it was her mom wearing it.
Maybe it was her wearing it. I can't remember. I just know I remember the bowl and the chopsticks. That's the image that I remember. And so I just pictured it laying on a table. Maybe it wasn't.
I could be totally wrong, because then my question the whole time was, so was the mom originally a natural? Like,
right.
What's going on with this? I need to know.
Yeah. And then it turns out that memory might actually be from her biological mom, not her adoptive mom. So then it really becomes confusing.
Yeah. It was, I don't. It was very much a sci-fi book. And my brain had a hard time keeping up.
So tag on to this one, because this is more where it fits in. What do you think about the idea of Urban being the hybrid? I always had struggled with her name.
Yeah. It wouldn't make any sense to me. Like, if you're the hybrid that has all of the abilities, does that just make you normal?
Yeah.
Because like she doesn't have any of the so that doesn't make any sense.
No, that was my thought. She's like, could I be the hybrid? And I'm like, you literally talk about how you have no abilities, how like you sweat when you're in a room and you have to hide that, and like all these different things. I'm like, you clearly act like a natural. Why would that make you the hybrid?
No.
Yeah. Like, you should know, because your body acts differently. Unless it's like an enhancement you were given that's extremely delayed and doesn't show up until you're 18.
Maybe
that would be the only way that she would be the hybrid. I think.
Which maybe we find that out in the second book. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, the second book is called Hybrid, so I assume we'll find out who the hybrid is. But it's like you would think you would know, because I'm told that I'm a natural, but something is off.
Yeah. It didn't make any sense to me. I was like, there's no way. Like, she can't be.
And I'm like, why would she even think that? And the only reason I could think that she thought that is because it's going to be revealed in book 2 that she is the hybrid.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but normally you would think she's been a natural her whole life. She's had to hide that she is. She doesn't have any advancements. Why would she even think that?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that part was confusing.
Yeah. Although I forgot this question earlier. I was kind of curious if these enhancements that they already do have, are they really all they're cracked up to be if somebody can be a natural among them for 15 years and not get found out?
Just saying.
Because I'm like, literally all it takes is like somebody constantly bullying you and doing things to you to realize like, oh wait, she sweats, and oh wait, she can't do this, she can't do that, she doesn't seem to have any ability.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, they did say that people like to keep their abilities a secret for some reason or another. And so she just kind of played into that, but you would think that people would still notice. And I know that they were supposedly really, really careful to make sure that people wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
But that's a great point.
Yeah, because usually it sounded like when people keep their enhancements a secret, it's because like there's a select few, like 2 or 3, that they're like, I don't want other people to know about this. But like the rest of their enhancements would be fine. But they just go ahead and keep them all a secret instead of revealing it. But I'm sorry, kids being kids, let's be honest, the ones who would keep it a secret, they're gonna like try to push their buttons to find out what their abilities are.
Yeah.
Because like I understand the teenagers and stuff not doing that because they're starting to be worried about what their social is going to be when they're adults. But I'm like, but younger kids aren't going to understand the concept of I need to worry about this. Like, they would push the buttons and try to find out.
How old was she when she was adopted?
3. Sorry, 3.
Okay, yeah. So she still would have gone to like early elementary with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Preschool, elementary school. Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry. Even in Asian society, I'm like, I can't imagine there aren't kids who just, poke at other kids going, why are you hiding? Why are you hiding? What do you have to hide?
Yeah. I don't know. That was weird.
It was.
But
because I'm like, maybe these enhancements aren't all that great if somebody who doesn't have any can hide among you for that long and nobody figures it out.
Yeah.
Like if she'd been adopted for a year or 2, I might buy it.
Yeah.
But like 15 years, that's a long time.
Yeah. And I'm also like, how did they like that's another thing. Like when she showed up, they were expecting her to also be enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did the people at the orphanage not know that she wasn't enhanced? If
Right.
they could tell all the other kids were enhanced.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's
How did that little mix up happen?
yeah. Yeah.
That's a good
Which
question.
I mean, it adds to, the mystery. But,
Right.
but I was just like, but how did they get that mixed up? Like somebody either intentionally lied about it
Right.
to keep the sisters together, or like
Or something is not adding up.
yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea. But that is a really good question. The questions we need answers to.
Yes, in the second book.
Hopefully. And probably the third book as well. So, because it is a trilogy.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, this book is labeled and marketed as Christian fiction. What aspects of Christian faith, morals, or end time prophecy did you or did you not see in the book? And I wrote it that way because I was just honestly like, I didn't see anything. Maybe you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything.
The only thing I saw, I caught at the very beginning of the book, and I thought, okay, maybe it's going to be more like end time prophecy we're going to see, was the tattoos. Because they have the tattoo on their wrist, the whole right arm or forehead thing in Revelation. Yeah. They scan that, and that's their ID, and that's their, debit card, if you will, or, whatever. And so I'm like, I could see that, and also like the cryptocurrency with there is no physical currency.
Yes.
But I'm like, that's literally all I saw.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I saw nothing else. The only thing that I saw that mentioned anything about any kind of religion at all was where it talked about the Buddhist temples and how they're not used for worship anymore. That's where they just store people's ashes. Yeah. So like, that's the only thing I saw that in any way was related to any kind of faith at all, let alone Christian faith. Right. Like no Christian faith that I see at all. No Christian morals, none of it.
Yeah. And I was like, I could kind of understand if, in the society, the way it is, if like, because she's living amongst the enhanced, which are the elite, if like none of them are involved in some kind of religion, so we don't really have Christian faith from them. But I'm like, but you also don't have it from like the naturals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is I was like, okay, well, maybe we don't have Christian faith. Maybe we have Christian morals. And so I'm like, okay, well, we have the whole, naturals versus enhanced, and, they should be equal. But then I thought about it, I'm like, actually, the argument isn't to make them equal. The argument is to make it so that after they're born, they can get the enhancements so they don't have to stay naturals. So it's not about accepting both. It's about making the lesser more.
Yeah.
Which is also not really Christian morals.
Nope.
Like if someone wants to stay a natural, they should be allowed to do that and it be okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe once again, you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but maybe we'll find out in the second book.
I know, right?
Like
that's kind of why I've been out with a lot of things.
I'm like, with the naturals.
Yeah. We might just have to read the rest of the series together and see if there's anything.
Yeah. But that was the one thing that I was just like, this, like, I really was expecting some sort of Christian faith in this, like to some degree.
Yeah. And I was honestly like, maybe it was just me because it was published by Enclave. I just assumed it was Christian fiction. So I hopped on Goodreads, shelved as Christian fiction. I hopped on Amazon, listed under like, number 10 in this category, whatever, Christian science fiction and religious fiction. I'm like, okay, it's not just me.
Yeah.
Like it's marketed on the internet as Christian fiction.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, with Enclave, you expect it to be Christian fiction anyway, because it's a Christian publishing house. But like,
right.
I'm think like, I don't know. My thought was maybe it is like Color Theory by Ashley Bustamante, and it just mentions a little bit of it later.
Right.
Like it's just a smidgen.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a clean book. There's, there's no issues as far as that goes, but I'm like,
a little bit of kissing. That was it.
Yeah. And, no language, no, nothing like that. Not overly violent, So I'm like, there's no issues there, but it feels weird when it's labeled as Christian fiction. And I'm like, I know there's books I've read that are Christian fiction, that it's more like exploring Christian morals, and having people explore that and come to that realization without actually mentioning the Bible. But I'm like, but this book didn't even seem to have that, and that was what was strange.
Yeah.
Or like I said, end time prophecy, because it's sci-fi and it's in the future. Right. I could see that too.
Yes, but I didn't see any of it. Except for what you said, maybe a little bit like the
tattoos. Although the tattoos vibrating is still weird.
Yeah, yes.
Like my tattoo vibrated, so I knew it scanned, and I'm like, I don't want my skin vibrating when I scan something.
No. I'm way too ticklish for that anyway. Like, no.
I'm not, but it would just make me feel weird.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who was just like, where is this?
Right. Like I said, it didn't dawn on me. And maybe I wasn't done with the book, but I was definitely late in the book when I started going, wait a second. This was supposed to be our Christian fiction book. And it was probably when I was starting to plan things for the live stream. And I'm like, hang on. I swear this was supposed to be a Christian fiction month.
Yeah.
What happened? So, all right. This is going to be a loaded question because we've already kind of talked about this.
Okay.
Were there any parts of the book you were still confused about by the end? Because they were lucky for me.
Yes. So many.
I knew I was just like, I don't know if you were not, so I'm going to put the question in, and yeah, it's come up a lot tonight. So
yeah. You guys, if you're watching this afterwards, just rewind and watch this whole conversation to find out the answer to this. Yep. All of the things I have.
We're confused about relationships. We're confused about technology. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Like I said, it's one of those where I'm like, maybe it's just me. Nope, apparently it's not just me.
No, not just you.
All right. So is there anything we missed that you would like to discuss?
Oh, let's see. I made a couple of notes, but I really we discussed everything that I made notes on. So, and more.
Yep. I always figure I ask because if there was anything you wanted to discuss that I didn't get to, I don't want to leave it out. So, all right. So my other common question, do you plan to continue the series?
I feel like I need to find out. I mean, I'm not this. Like I said before, I don't read a whole ton of sci-fi, which is kind of silly because one of my favorite books of all time is considered sci-fi. But and of the sci-fi that I have read, this wouldn't have been what I would have chosen for myself, like this kind of sci-fi. So, and I don't know that I will pursue this kind of sci-fi in the future, but I want to know what happens.
Right. We have too many questions.
Yes. So I think I will. I think I will. And I think she must have done this to us on purpose. She's like, people will want answers. I must leave questions at the end.
Right.
So I think I will. I think I'll continue it. Even though it's not something that I would normally gravitate towards. I think I will continue this. And also it'll just bug me if I don't. Right.
You're just going to be left wondering for the rest of your life.
Right. How about you? Do you plan to?
I think so. Yeah. With the amount of questions, mostly because, I'm very much hoping that some sort of Christian element comes into the story later. Yes. But then, I'm very curious about a lot of these relationships. And it's like, does it start to add up when we get to later books?
Yeah.
So also, I was about this close to asking you, so what's your favorite sci-fi? And then I stopped myself because I remembered.
You know it.
I know it. I was like, wait, no, this is the book. She's like, I push this all the time, but...
That's why I didn't name it, because I was like, I'm sure people are really tired of hearing me talk about it.
I think I did find that one on Hoopla, so I have saved it. I will get to it at some point.
Yay. I hope.
Although maybe I'll make it a book club book.
There you go. I hope that if you read it, you like it. I know that people are kind of like, on either side of it, but
I have that with books that I love too, where I'm like, I hear people are like, yes, I love it also. And then people are like, I hated this book. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I just buddy read a book with Lucy and I loved it. And she was like, I hate this book. And I was like, okay, never mind.
That's been the interesting thing with this book club is when I've had co-hosts and we read books, I'm like, usually our rating is like half a star to a full star off from each other at the most. So I'm like, we usually seem to have pretty similar thoughts on the book. So I'm like, it could definitely make for interesting discussion if we were like polar opposites.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, but if I enjoyed a book and they enjoyed the book, then that makes me feel better too.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Well, and like, here's the thing. Because I was like, I wonder how Charlene is feeling about this because this is one heck of a book.
Right.
But then I was like, she said she hasn't read sci-fi in a while. And I know she hasn't read this book. So like, I was like, what if she's reading this and she's just like, I hate this book. Like, poor thing, because she chose the book.
Thankfully, I have not hated any books that we read. There have been books that have gotten, I think there have been books that have gotten around 3 stars. But I haven't hated any books yet, thankfully.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I read classic sci-fi. So like this, it doesn't faze me. It was just I haven't read a sci-fi in a while that drops me in. So I'm like, okay,
yep.
I just got to hang on tight because it'll make sense in time. Yep. And then things still didn't make sense.
She's taking the whole series to make it make sense to us.
Right. Because I got like 3 chapters in. I'm like, no wonder she messaged me 8 chapters in. It was like, I'm so confused. I'm like, yep, I'm still confused.
I forgot I did that. That's funny. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's like, well, I'll try to get caught up. I read like 1 or 2 chapters. You're like, well, I'm done with the book now. And I'm like, all right, we'll see how this goes. I'm like, no, I definitely understand because there's a lot going on and they don't stop and explain it.
Yeah, no. And that's why like I just kept going with it because I was like, I'll figure it out. I want to know. Right. I'll figure it out eventually. And then I was just like, no, I didn't figure it out.
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So any final thoughts and what star rating did you give the book?
Okay, final thoughts. Decent book. Like one heck of a book to like jump right into again for sci-fi. And I am interested, like we said, I'm interested in seeing what happens. So like my final thoughts are decent. Yeah, like I didn't not enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I was just confused. Yeah. I think the rating I gave it was like 3.75. Like just I didn't like for me though, I feel like star ratings are so different for everybody.
They are.
Like, 5-star for me is just like, this is one of the best books I've ever read. And then 4-star is, hey, I really enjoyed that.
Right.
So then
and that's the hard part is like, it feels like such a drop from 5 to 4.
Yes.
Even though it's just 1 star, it feels like a huge drop.
Yeah.
So I've discovered, I go through spells. I'm a pendulum where it's like, I give out a ton of 5 stars because I'm like, there really wasn't anything wrong with the book. I really enjoyed it. So I give it 5 stars. And then I'm like, I'm too generous with my 5 stars, so I swing back, and suddenly I have tons of 4 stars and very few 5 stars.
Do that too. So yeah, this one I was just like, I think the only reason I give it 3.75 is just because like I said before, it's not something I would naturally gravitate towards, and I'm coming away with a lot of questions. I'm a little confused. So like, I still thought it was a decent book. I just didn't think that it was quite 4-star level for me. Like it was almost, I struggled between, do I say 3.5 or 3.75? Like, what am I going to give it here? And I was like, but I feel like it's a little bit better than 3.5 personally.
Yes.
So how about you?
See, this is always the hard part because I don't put my rating up until after the live stream. So I don't plan out my star rating ahead of time. So I'm always like on camera going, what am I going to give this book? I think I'm probably going to land on a 4-star. I don't do quarter stars for starters. I will let you know right now.
I usually don't either.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do, and I'm like, half stars is plenty for me. I don't need to divide it down any further.
Yep.
But yeah, probably a 4-star because of all the questions we're left with. and some of the things that I'm uncertain about, like all those different relationships, I
Yeah.
don't really want to give it quite a 4.5. So
Okay.
I'm probably going to land on a 4.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
See, I was so close to giving it a 4, but then I was like, I just don't feel like it's a 4, but I don't feel like it's a 3.5. And I've been giving out quarter stars lately. I'm like really undecided lately.
Right. Like, it's not quite this.
I feel like it's more of 4-star than a 3.5 star. I do feel that. But like, I just couldn't bring myself to give it a 4-star. But then again, like if I go a while and then I'll think back on a book, and I've been doing that with this one where I'm like, I don't know, maybe I was too hard on it. Maybe I should give it a higher star rating.
Yeah. And I've tried with my books this year where it's like I give it a few days and then I actually give it the star rating because I'm like, that'll probably be more accurate than giving it right after. Yeah. And I realized even doing that, I'm like, 2 or 3 months later, I'm finally like, oh no, this is where I actually think I settle on the book. So I'm like, apparently waiting a few days doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
It's still going to be very similar to just after I read it.
Yeah.
So like maybe I just shouldn't bother because my opinion is going to change mostly based on how much does the book stick with me afterwards.
Exactly.
So
yes.
So I'm like, I could love it as soon as I finish reading it, but then once I have time to process it, then I'm like, oh no, actually it shouldn't have been 5 stars. It should have been like 4 or 4.5.
Yeah.
So 4.5 is basically I really enjoyed this, but it didn't quite hit it as a perfect book for me.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
I can't call it a new all-time favorite.
Yeah.
Really, that's what I want the 5 stars to be. That's not what they are this year, but that's mostly what I want 5 stars to be. I've been a little bit more generous this year than normal. So there's some that I've looked at and I'm like, that should be a 4-star because it should be about 4.5. And I round down, I don't round up. I mean that way, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, it totally depends on my mood because I just really like it. I don't have, how some people have like very like you get a 1/2 star for this, a 1/2 star for that. Like, they have it planned out. And I'm just like, how do I feel?
Yeah. Mine's literally, how much did I enjoy this book?
Yep.
Basically what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, like I've seen I think it was called the cat paw system. I don't even know if people still use it. It was used like 5-10 years ago. And I don't remember what all the letters stand for, but I know it was like characters and plot and I know enjoyment was in there somewhere. And so it's like you basically plug in a star rating for all of these different aspects of the book. And then it gives you basically like an average score that tells you like, okay, you gave it, the characters a 3-star and the plot a 4-star and they gave enjoyment a 4-star and the writing a 5-star. And that comes out to, like a 4.25 or something.
Huh.
And so that's how people are rating their books. And I'm just like, all I hear right now is Dead Poet Society. I don't know if you've seen that movie where he's doing the chart. And I'm just like, that's what I hear with a cat paw. I'm not doing that.
Nope.
Like, I can't. Because I'm going to see that rating. And I did it one time for one book just to see what it came out as. And it came out, I think, to like a 3.5 or something. And I'm like, no, this was like a 2-star book. I am not rating it 3.5 because Catpaw said so. I didn't care for this book.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sorry, but no.
And there's some great books out there that have really horrible characters. But that's part of what makes them great. Mm-hmm. So like that would bring it down when maybe you want it to go up.
It's like East of Eden.
I haven't read that yet.
Yeah. How do I phrase this? Content warning for everything.
Oh,
that's the way that I have phrased it.
Oh, okay.
Because I started at one point to like write down like the different content warnings when I was a few chapters in, and it was so long. And yeah, after a while I was just like, literally content warnings for everything. I said that to my sister-in-law. She threw out something random and she's like, well, does it have this? And I started to answer, okay, no, it doesn't have that. And then I stopped. She's like, the fact that you paused gives me concern. I'm like, I was literally about to say no, but then I had to stop and go, wait, or is it? I don't remember.
Oh my goodness.
So she's like, I was saying that as a joke. I really hope that's not in there. I'm like, I hope it's not too, but I suddenly don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah, like, my thought was Lady Susan.
It's a great story, but content warnings for everything.
Yeah. Yeah, see, and like some stories are meant to not give you all the fuzzy good feels, but it still makes it a great story. And like So yeah, I don't think I would
his
like that
story
reading.
is literally, that story is basically, to me, it's literally looking at the dark side of humanity. And the things that people will do or will decide to do. And it's supposed to be based on Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel. Like it's not based literally on them, but there's supposed to be ties back to that. He starts out on the East Coast, he moves to the West Coast, so that's like leaving Eden. And then he has 2 kids that their names start with C and A, but they're not Cain and Abel. I think it's like Aaron and Cal.
Okay.
So like there's kind of a relationship between the brothers that somewhat resembles the friction between Cain and Abel. So there are some ties in there, and he does mention it in the book, but yeah, it's basically just exploring. To me, that's what it is. It's exploring the darker side of humanity, and I'm like, it's a fantastic story for doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to it. So
it sounds like it.
Yeah, it was a 5-star book for me, but it's like I can't recommend it to everybody by any means. So
yeah, I think right now, I don't know. I think that for this book, I'm still just going to leave it at 3.75 and think on it a little longer, but it does kind of lean more towards the 4.
Yeah. And I haven't been doing as good of a job with it this year because I normally do the half stars. I normally basically have like a 10-point scale written out. And I'm like, okay, where does it fall on the 10-point scale? And whatever it lands on, I divide it in half. And that's the rating I give it. Because somehow 4 to 3.5 sounds worse than like a 4 to a 4.5 because the first number changed.
Yes.
And so I'm like, going like, okay, this is a 3.5. I'm like, oh, that sounds like I'm being really harsh, but it wasn't really a 4-star. But then I'll look at a 10-point scale and go, well, I'd give it 7 out of 10. Well, that's a 3.5, but it didn't sound as bad.
Yes.
So,
yeah. And I've been having to remind myself that just because something is a 3 or a 3.5 doesn't mean it's a bad book. It sounds like a bad score, but I'm just like, that's still like, you still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
To a degree. Like, so I've been having to remind myself of that.
Yeah. Because usually, like for me, a 3-star is basically like, it's kind of middle of the road. There were things I liked about it. There were things I didn't like about it. It was okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not bad. It just, maybe it wasn't for me.
Yep.
So if it's bad, it's going to get 2 stars. That's when we start getting into there was more negative than positive. So
yeah.
All right. So next month's book, I forgot to grab off the shelf, and my unread books are behind the couch, so I am not going to dig it out. But next month's book is The Great Library of Tomorrow by Rosalia Aguilar Solace. I'm guessing the last name is also Spanish. I don't know. The rest of it is, so I'm hoping. It looks like Solace, so I don't know. This one is, I believe it's adult fantasy, but it also is an academia book. So will be very different from what we just read.
Yes.
Partially because it's fantasy, but September just felt like a back to school month, so I wanted something academia.
That's smart. So,
yeah. I had a different book planned out originally that was not academia, and then realized like I'm pretty sure it's self-published, so it's hard to get a hold of, and I'm like, maybe I should pick something traditionally published so it's a little easier to get a hold of.
That's smart.
So however, this is the part I have not wanted to do all night, but I have to. I do not have a co-host for the rest of the year. I will not be doing live streams the rest of the year because life has gotten super busy with school, and we have a kitchen remodel coming up. Then we're going to have the holidays. We have a trip sometime this fall, and my kids tend to not cooperate on the nights when I have live streams anyway. And with everything getting busier, I just don't know that I'm going to be able to make the time to do the live stream every month. So we will resume next year, but for the rest of this year, everything will just be over on Fable. So you can comment over there as you make progress in the books. We'll discuss it all there. Live streams will resume sometime next year. So yeah, I took a break from YouTube this summer from posting videos, and I'm like, now I got to take a break from live streams because I am struggling to function with everything that's piling up. So
yeah, that makes sense. You should be nice to yourself.
Yeah. I'm like, I hope people don't mind too much, but unfortunately the live streams will not be around for a few months. So, well, thank you all for joining me. or joining us. I am sorry. I hope you enjoyed our conversation because we obviously had plenty to talk about with this one. So I do have Kelley's channel linked down in the description below. So if you have not checked out her channel, you should go do that. And we will see you sometime later.